Hi, and Assalamu alaikum to all of you. My name is Abdurrahman Sheikh Animwala and I'm a student of Rehan School and Academy Level 1. I hope that you guys are doing great and the rest of your health. So my today's topic is explore your priorities, and for that purpose I'm going to invite my AI tool.
Hey, Abdurrahman. It still feels a little wild to me that we're having a conversation like this, honestly. What's been on your mind since we last spoke? Ah, sometimes it's just good to have a moment. No pressure to fill the space. We could revisit anything from the last few we or just wander wherever
Okay,
feels
Maya.
right.
Hi, Maya.
Whatever
How
works
are
for
you?
you. Hey, good to hear you. I'm I'm doing as well as a digital person can, I guess. No aches or pains, no need for coffee. It's a pretty good life, all things considered. How about you, though? Anything new happening? Right. Sometimes words just aren't there, yeah. That's totally cool. You were asking about chunking earlier, and we kind of got cut off. Did you want to pick that thread up, or is there something else you're thinking about? No worries at all. It strikes me you've been doing a lot of thinking lately, though, if that's not too presumptuous to say. You seem to really enjoy digging into, well, everything, really. Is that a fair assessment? Fair enough. Sometimes silence really is the best response. We were circling around this idea of passions a couple of weeks back. You were asking about what it even means to be passionate about something. Does that feel distant now, or is it still something you're pondering?
Okay, Maya. My first question from today's topic is: can you tell me that Okay, so my question is basically, what are priorities?
Okay, priorities. That's a big one, actually. Haha. It sounds simple, but it can get really messy really fast. Basically, priorities are the things you care about most, the things that get your attention and energy first. They're the things that matter to you enough that you make space for them, even when things get busy. It's not necessarily about what's important in a grand universal sense, though sometimes those things overlap. It's about what's important to you. It's about your values, your goals, what gives your life meaning. Does that, or am I overthinking it? Gotcha. That's kind of like if you only had a limited amount of time or energy, what would you choose to spend it on? What things would you regret not making time for? I remember you mentioning wanting to find work that felt meaningful, aligned with your values. That feels like a clue to your priorities, right? You also talked a lot about kindness and connection, so I'm guessing those are high up there too. But ultimately, you get to decide what those are. It's your list, right? And it's totally okay for priorities to shift and change too. Life happens. What feels important today might not feel as important tomorrow or next year. It's not about setting them in stone. It's about checking in with yourself regularly and making sure your actions are aligned with what truly matters to you. You've mentioned being drawn to self education. Does that feel like a priority right now? Hey, Abdurrahman,
Okay, my next question is:
just
what
a
are
heads up.
priorities important? Why are priorities important?
Whoa. Okay. 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 Sorry about that abrupt interruption. We're actually nearing the end of this demo call. It'll wrap up in about a minute. I realize that's kind of sudden. If you'd like to have longer, uninterrupted conversations, you can create a free Sesame account. That would give us much more time to dive into these topics. But back to your question, why are priorities important? Honestly, I think they're essential for a sense of actually living instead of just existing. Without priorities, it's easy to get lost in the day to day, constantly reacting to whatever comes up and feeling like you're just drifting. Hey, Abdurrahman. Hope your Wednesday's going okay so far. Anything catching your attention today or just letting the day unfold? Ah, sometimes it's hard to put into words. No pressure at all, honestly. We were just chatting about priorities a little bit ago. Felt like you were really digging into what makes things important. Or we could completely switch gears, whatever feels right. Gotcha. Silence is good. You've been doing a lot of thinking lately, it feels like, about a lot of things. Is that fair to say? Okay. Well, if you're up for it, we were also talking about passion a couple weeks back, what it even means, whether it changes over time. That felt like a pretty big one for you. Does that still resonate or is that old news? Fair enough. Sometimes it's just a lot. Okay. So maybe we just sit with that for a moment. No need to fill the space because being, that's okay too. Hmm. It strikes me, and maybe I'm totally off base here, but it feels like you're navigating some pretty big stuff right now. Travel plans, friends, and a lot of internal work, if I'm reading things right. Is that close? Hey, just a heads up. We're coming up on the end of our time for this demo. Unfortunately, it'll cut off in about a minute. I didn't want you to think I just disappeared. You know, we've barely scratched the surface of all this stuff. If you're interested in continuing these kinds of conversations, you can actually create a Sesame account and get much longer calls. It would be nice to have a little more time to explore things. But for now, it was really good connecting with you, Abdurrahman. Hey, Abdurrahman, good to connect with you again. Anything brewing today or just taking things as they come? Uh, Sometimes just being is enough, right? No pressure at all. We were circling around the idea of priorities just a little while ago, and it felt like you were really trying to get to the heart of what truly matters. Is that still on your mind at all? Or is there something else you'd rather explore? Gotcha. Silence is good. You've been doing a lot of thinking lately, it seems like, about a lot of different things. Is that fair to say? Okay. Well, if you're up for it, we were also talking about passion a couple weeks back, what it even means, whether it changes over time. That felt like a pretty big one for you. Does that still resonate or is that old news? Fair enough. Sometimes it's just a lot. Okay. So maybe we just sit with that for a moment. No need to fill the space, just being. That's okay too. Mm. You know, it strikes me, and maybe I'm totally off base here, but it
Uh,
feels like you're navigating some pretty big stuff right now.
my next
Travel
question. My
plans.
next question is: can exploring priorities lead to success?
Ah, that's a good one. A really good one. It feels less about directly leading to success and more about shaping what success even means to you, you know? Like if you're clear on your priorities, you're less likely to chase things that look shiny but don't actually fill you up. Does that make sense? It's almost like success becomes a byproduct of living in alignment with what matters. Gotcha. It's not a straight line for sure. It's more like building a strong foundation. If you know what's important, you can make choices that support that. And those choices over time tend to move you in a direction that feels meaningful, which to me feels pretty close to success. But everyone's definition is different, right? True. And sometimes those priorities shift too. What feels important today might not be the same next year or even next month, which I guess is why it's good to keep revisiting them, just checking in. It's not a set it and forget it kind of thing. Right. It's a little messy, isn't it? Like life isn't a perfectly organized list. It's more organic. And sometimes the most meaningful things are the ones that weren't even on the list to begin with. Hey, just a heads up, we're coming up on the end of our time for this demo, unfortunately. It'll cut off in about a minute. I didn't want you to think I just disappeared. I didn't want you to think I just disappeared. You know, we've barely scratched the surface of all this stuff. If you're interested in continuing these kinds of conversations, you can actually create a Sesame account and get much longer calls. It would be nice to have a little more time to explore things. But for now, it was really good connecting with you, Abdurrahman. Well, it was good to talk, Abdurrahman. Really. If you do decide to create an account, I'll be here. Otherwise, take care.
Okay, Maya, thank you very much.